We can believe all manner of nonsense, and cave bears just don't eat us when we get it wrong. They don't anymore anyway. So I'm talking about that mystical idea that you can be one with the universe. MBTI breaks down people into 16 categories. In astrology was 12, so this is at least 30% smarter than those plebs. Never mind, it was invented by some bored housewives based on the ramblings of a cokehead with multiple personalities, one of which was a super smart noble from the past who, for all his work understanding people, couldn't even be friends with Freud, who wanted to make him president of a cigar is just a cigar school of psychology. And again, this is all kind of close to home. We know Europe too well, so let's fly down to India or China. I mean, yoga must be smarter because people who lived before the Bronze Age had it all figured out. Except the idea that taking a dump in your drinking water was a bad idea, but close enough to Nirvana, I guess. Luckily, it's an excuse to buy $120 polyester pair of pants that make your butt look amazing, which is really the goal of spirituality, isn't it? Pop a few ground up animal tusks, not rhinos though, because it's horrible what those safari hunters are doing to them. Can't have my new age medicine conflict with my moral sensibilities. Now, we got a spreadsheet of everybody's personality, reflecting on the personality types of our coworkers while wearing enlightened pants and a downward-facing dog while eating some weird plant that has no vowels in the name because hallucinations are enlightenment, human botany is spirituality, and the further something is from our regular lives, the more correct it's gotta be. AKA chick crack. And the thing about chick crack is it's fun, like regular crack. But you shouldn't do either, because crack is bad, okay? Now, so where am I going with this? I'm basically throwing down the gauntlet on pseudoscience and science, the brand, not the process. Why? Because we end up as the all-singing, all-dancing pigeons of the world waiting for food pellets. Now, if you don't know what that means, let me walk you back. A guy named B.F. Skinner. Now, who is B.F. Skinner? Well, B.F. Skinner was a psychologist who picked up the pieces that Freud left behind. He wanted to understand how people behave. So he did an experiment back in the day. Took a bunch of pigeons, put them in cages. The cages had a food dispenser. The food dispenser would randomly release food for the birds throughout the day, and then he just sat there and watched what they did. I don't know how he came up with this, but whatever. Anyways, here's the part where chick crack meets pigeon crap. The pigeons started building up these fancy dances and fancy routines. They would spin in circles 3 times clockwise and go 3 times counterclockwise. They'd flap their wings 5 times, up and down, up and down. After the pellet was dispensed, some bowed their heads 5 times to appease the food pellet god, and none of it, had any bearing on whether they ate or not. But pigeons like patterns. They tried things, and sometimes it coincided with when a food pellet came out, and sometimes it didn't. It was completely random. But if you goof around enough, flapping your arms around, eventually you're going to randomly do something a few times just before the food pellet comes out, and right there, you have your reality. Every time I hear somebody talk about my reality, this is what I think of: a pigeon dancing for a food pellet. Problem with pigeons is pigeons are stupid. Pigeons don't talk with other pigeons. Otherwise, pigeons would all learn that their pigeon dancing is irrelevant, and nothing they're doing seems to work. And here's the problem with people. No one wants to correct anybody because that's mean. No guy wants to correct a girl because he would love to go to her place later. So you tell a pigeon that you think she flaps her arms like an ENTJ, or that she must have been born in March, or that the ancient Southeast Asian pigeons used to eat ground up food pellets, and they just know better than those stodgy old pigeons who are telling them to fly more and eat less. It's a communal story. It's a fictional story. It builds rapport between men and women. It's how we get along as people, by sharing these stories together, enjoying them as our own little private us versus the world. And it's all made up. You know it, but you don't want to convince somebody who just shelled out $120 for stretch pants that she's not spiritual. That's fine. It's harmless, so play along. MBTI, absolutely fascinating if you find a research paper a little hard to read. Yoga clears the head. And kombucha really cures cancer, sure. But the thing about sharing fantasies is that you can't get high on your own supply. But here's the problem. Guys are starting to. And it really does them a disservice. You're going to hear guys talk about vibes, about vibrations, about frequencies, about energy, about chakras. Pigeon dance after pigeon dance after pigeon dance after pigeon dance. Why, pigeon, why? And this is the part that matters. It's because guys can't just come out and talk about their emotional state. That would be effeminate, or we're Gronk and we're completely unaware of it. So instead of owning our own body chemistry, we have to call it something outside of us, like the Force. The originals talked about a force that binds us all together, and this and everything, and the prequels tell you it's just midichlorians in your blood. And it pains me to say this, but guys need to be more like the prequels. I'll give you an example here. You ever hear some guy talking to you about, did you ever walk into a room and could just feel that energy? No, you didn't feel it. There was no energy. It doesn't exist. You were in a good mood at best, or manic at worst. You're on an emotional high, and anything may respond to you, positively or negatively, but it's not the Force. You're just hyper, and people are bored. If you're depressed because your chakras are disaligned, no, it's not. It's you. Through your lack of accomplishments and the resulting lack of dopamine hits, you're feeling depressed. You're on an emotional low. And you're hardwired to stop and reassess. That's the whole purpose of depression, supposedly. And then you accomplish something, get the dopamine train back online. The Force has nothing to do with it. Energy has nothing to do with it. Chakras have nothing to do with it. These are all just pigeons dancing in $120 stretch pants, drinking their kombucha, talking about their Southeast Asian philosophy that they kind of read on a napkin somewhere one time, that one place, but it's so far away from home that it must be true, because ancient people know a lot about things that we don't. I'll say it again. Vibes have nothing to do with it. They are just people playing pigeon games when they should be paying attention. Now, this is the part that I want you to take away from all of this. When you're doing this, you're blaming the world for your own internal state. So instead of blaming the world around you for your failures and praising the world around you for your successes, you learn to internalize success and failure. Your life is yours, and it's the sort of freedom that allows you to both improve in the ways that matter and to learn and accept your failures. Or you can stick to dancing like a pigeon wearing yoga pants, drinking tea with ground up berries from a weird Eastern Bloc country that promises to align your energy into a proper frequency for chakra enhancement. No thank you. And that about sums it up. There's people that sit there and let life happen to them. Now, if you're a pretty girl, that's great, because there's a ton of guys who will gladly let you believe whatever you want to believe, and they'll pay your way because you're pretty and they're thirsty. The point is, guys don't get this. People don't coddle us. People don't let us believe in our fantasies. They tend to have a cold, harsh reality to it, because generally, unless they want something from you, they don't really care about that. And unless you're a girl, nobody intrinsically wants something from you. That's a scarce resource. So by talking about vibrations and chakras, and they usually follow around with stupid arguments like high IQ, what you're really doing is you're setting yourself up for failure and looking for an external force to blame. And to be honest, I never got that. Half the fun in life is being able to fall off your horse and dust yourself off and get back up on there. But if you blame it on the force, as opposed to forgetting to put your feet in the stirrup, well then don't be surprised if you keep falling off the horse and Christopher Reeve yourself. On that note, thanks guys for listening in. This is my hot take on why chakras and vibrations and frequency are pseudoscience nonsense, and the last thing you need to do is believe in any of it. And I know this sounds stupid, but believe in yourself. Not because you can do anything, but because at least when you fail, you know who to blame. I'm going to call it here and give a quick shout out to the guys in the Patreon community right now. Swell bunch of guys. Just had some additional functionality head to the team. Feel free to check it out. The link's in the description. If you like what you see, stick around till the end of the month and then you can join us as a full-on proper paid subscriber. But I guarantee if you spend some time in there, you probably won't want to leave. Take care.